And now we are back to the recap with Davis and Pete. I think it was a great day, Pete and Davis.
Man, my head is exploding right now.
Yeah, Danilo, your endurance is impressive, and I think the engagement from the comment side is impressive. It's hard. I think this is the hardest part of the day. It's like where to begin to recap. It's got to sink in. Need to sleep on it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were really diversified contributions, which express somehow the richness of the people we have in the community.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Some things stay the same and some things change. Like there's always great to see the continued interest in pruning and quantization and some of these familiar topics, but they take different forms in terms of the methodologies they're applied to, but also the diversity of technical details plus some applications like we saw with Alok's automotive presentation was a good deep dive on a specific domain, I thought.
Yeah. Well, that made sense. I like the memory optimization discussion. Kind of went to math camp for a little bit there, but for a lot of these systems, they're very kind of memory bound and that's cost, that's cost and power, when you get into these edge platforms. So the ability to sort of get more creative with memory usage is really going to help a lot of the generative AI deployments out there on the edge. Not really an issue when you're in the cloud. You just kind of throw in sort of infinite memory there, but out in the real world, you need to sort of be careful about how much you add in. So, but that was interesting.
I was also touched by some comments from Dave at the beginning when he was sharing his view about this layer representation of the edge. Edge is not a monolithic thing. It really is composed by layers, and really these layers are the opportunity for us and for the community to contribute. And the other point was really the concept of the infrastructure. AI is an infrastructure. I think is really a very important comment from Dave. Infrastructure like a train, like water pipe, like energy distribution, which is amazing, and it means that is here to stay for long, and is a continuum between the cloud and the edge.
Yeah,
Dave's onto something. Yeah.
It was interesting to hear. I mean, the way they do the real research with, Fortune 500s and kind of trying to understand where their head's at. And it was interesting that he was pointing out too, I think reinforcing the fact that there's always a gravitational pull toward the edge. Things start as a POC on the cloud, but then when they get real and get commercialized, everyone's like, do I need to pay all that cloud stuff? And do I need to can I just have this in a box on my factory floor and do that? So I think that's just always the gravity.
Once you get that first AWS bill and you think, but the one data point from Dave's slides, I think he was talking about the percent increase, the uptick in evaluation. So people at the evaluation stage of AI, the one data point that stuck out to me was the percent not interested in using Gen AI. It was very small. I think the global average was like 5%. I think Europe, EU is highest with 11%. I mean, so yeah, it's here to stay, and manufacturing intelligence.
Yeah. I was at Embedded World last week. I did the rounds. I mean, it's still early. So I asked people, some of the box makers, that make gateways. I'm like, what do you have for me to run like a Gen AI model, like in your actual gateway? Like, what do you have that's outfitted with that? And, it's still pretty slim pickings. It's some Warren based stuff with, 32 gigs of RAM and stuff, but that's like $5,000+. So I think that's the next thing is like, now we'll start to see some of the box makers, the device builders, building out platforms that are AGI capable. I mean, Qualcomm makes a pretty good case with their Snapdragons on what they can do there. I think we'll see more and more, and I'm sure with NXP and folks as well. But that's the next thing, is to see actual equipment out there. So when Dave talks about evaluating, how do people actually evaluate this stuff in a cost-effective way? I think that's the next step.
I think ST and Qualcomm, you guys just partnered up, or announced some partnership along these lines of combining computation plus connectivity.
Yeah. So it's going to get real. I'm sure by the next Embedded World, I'm sure we'll see all kinds of stuff going on. But even 6 months from now, it's inevitable if there's demand. So yeah, I thought the range of stuff was really good. The Executorch stuff, I learned a lot on that from Meta, from Chen Lai. That was cool too. Mentioned the Bosch stuff. Yeah, it was just like so many different ways. I mean, you know, there's an old phrase, there's never a shortage of work to do. There's like a ton of work to do here, but a lot of opportunity for people out there that are building out their careers and want to really be on the cutting edge, no pun intended, you know, edge AI, generative AI, tiny ML.
Now's the time.
This is the frontier for folks to invest in. So,
and you know, Pete and Davis, automotive, you said already, Davis, but it still surprised me, Meta. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it was a personal feeling, but back to 2018, 2019, I didn't feel that Meta was really interested at the edge. But what I saw today from Che, really, Meta is committed at the edge and is bringing innovation at the edge, starting with generative AI. I think it's very bold, the message.
Yeah. Well, it's, if you kind of tie a couple of threads together, I mean, PyTorch is a common framework to develop and train these models, but the footprint of PyTorch is the framework itself and the dependent libraries is pretty large. So when you're trying to port to a memory constrained board, it kind of begets this natural evolution from the team. So it's been great to see Executorch, and I think Chen alluded to it in the apps like Instagram and WhatsApp and Meta's apps. They are edge native, you know, mobile, at least mobile native applications, right? Where data is created, the user interaction point. So while a lot of these big models live and train on servers still, they've been kind of catapulted into the future with the success of Llama and Llama 3.2 being a very popular model. I mean, we certainly see that a lot too. So no, I'm glad you brought it up. You know, it's good to see.
Yeah, no, it's cool. For future reference. And also, if you haven't been to the Discord channel, it's dsc.gg/edge Gen AI. There you go, event channel on Discord. We've got a bunch of people joined today. So, and including the more detailed agenda, and we'll post some decks up there and some other slides and stuff. So those are two good locations. Yes. Everyone in Europe, good night.
Bye. See you tomorrow.
In other time zones, have a good afternoon, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Ciao.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye.